Welcome to So You're Kinda a Big Deal, a weekly podcast deep diving into the lives of emerging and established tattoo artists. Listen in as we dig into origin stories, industry hot topics, and what it takes to survive in the world of tattooing. This is Tattoo Shop Talk. It's funny, it's crass, inspiring, and sometimes we get it right. Join your hosts Shawn, Hedley, and Dave Allen every week as we host a new guest. The True North Strong Tattoo Book. This is a massive tattoo encyclopedia of Canadian tattooers. 350 pages. It's an 11 by 17 coffee table format. Shawn and Dan worked tirelessly to get this thing out, and sadly it never made it to print, so it's available for free download at the holdfastsocialclub.com and championtattoo.ca.
Everyone knows Dave and I have a good guy connection, but we also have that with most respected supply companies. Working alongside Lucas at Classic Tattoo, I saw firsthand the blood, sweat, and pressure he was under to provide top quality products. He knew I'd shit all over his ideas if they sucked. He also knew that many online would follow suit. Being passionate and having a deep connection to producing products your peers will use and love is no small task. With Lucas, Rob, and Natalie at the helm, you know exactly what you're getting. High quality products, fairly priced with excellent customer service. Shop, support, Good Guy Supply.
Old Fast Social Club presents So You're Kinda a Big Deal with your hosts Shawn, Hedley, and Dave Allen.
Yeah.
We can blur you out if you'd like. I can pixelate your face and you can be our mystery guest.
Yeah, that's fun.
Can you guess who it is?
I just want to, just before we get into like all the history and other stuff like that, I just need to bring this up because you posted a video the other day of you printing cards for the elderly.
Okay, yeah.
Is that your own press? Like, what is it? Hildenberg?
Well, you're talking about a Heidelberg, but that's
Heidelberg.
not. Yeah, I have two. I have a Chandler and Price, which is a platen press, and then I have a Vandercook that's a cylinder press. And kind of
Nice.
like I rebuilt that Chandler and Price. Oh man, I must have rebuilt that back in like 15. And I ended up giving that to my wife.
Wow.
So that's technically her press. And then I have a Vandercook that I print on that's more like a proofing press. So it's not like it's not the kind of press that you would do a ton of things on. More like art.
No. Can you do foil press on that and stuff?
Will
that one do the foil?
My wife hit me up like 2 days ago. It was like, we need to get a hot foil press, and I was like, all right, like here I go again.
Just so people.
Yeah, sorry. So the whole reason why I brought this up is because a couple episodes ago where Dave made me talk about myself is that I actually got trained on those presses on a like jail release program.
Oh, nice. Okay, yeah. Just old school printing. I mean, it used to be a really common. Like, I mean, I meet guys that are like master printers all the time. You know what I mean? They're in their 60s, they're in their 70s, but that's just all they did. There's that's just they ran presses, man, because that was how everything.
They're so cool.
They're awesome. Yeah.
I probably rewatched that video so many times just because of the sound.
Yeah,
it's just like that ASMR kind of comforting thing. Like I was like, man. So
when it gets going, because we have to slow it down. There's like a foot brake you can have to slow the wheel down.
Yeah.
Which I just have never put on. I have it. I need to assemble it, but I haven't put it on. We just slow the wheel down with our hand. But if you let it just open up and run, it creates this like growl that's the craziest sound. It's like super ASMR, like just this mechanical growl. It's so cool, Yeah.
So cool.
Are you doing all your prints that way, or is this just a special project you're working on?
No. I mean, I still like if I work on a painting, I'm just gonna do a digital, G clay print or whatever. I'm actually working on a painting right now that's a commission job that's gonna be screen printed. But typically I'm just gonna do like a G clay.
Nice. Okay.
And then all the letterpress stuff is. So with the platen press, my wife does letterpress. She does wedding invitations and business suites, and like that's like her bread and butter. I make art on my press, which means I don't really use it that often, to be honest. Like I haven't. I mean, I've made some stuff, but no one gets it. No one understands what it is. So I'll do like a super complicated, like 4 or 5 plate run, and when people see it, they're like, kind of flat. It's like whatever. Like I don't.
Of course.
Unless you're really into like lithography or serigraphs or some intaglio, like unless you already understand like archival, like hand printmaking, you just honestly, it's almost like wood blocks, right? Like most people,
sure,
like Americans or Westerners, they see woodblock printing and they're like, it's kind of goofy, kind of flat, and you're just like, what are you talking about, man? It's like
you're missing it.
Complicated and it's so cool, and it's lost on them.
Yeah,
they don't understand that it's printed on blocks of wood. Like they have no concept.
No, the process is hidden from everybody. Like I think all printing these days is hidden from people, right? They just they think good lettering is vinyl lettering. They think good printing is like out of a computer.
Right.
Yeah, that process is hidden.
Yeah, like the guy Wes that works for me, he's still doing like the super intricate like lino cutouts, rolling the ink on it, and then like the weighted press on the back. Because he's doing like big fucking ones, and I'm just like, dude, he's like, I'm so tired and sore from pressing these things by hand. Like, people look at them and are like, cool.
So I mean, the other day when I was printing those cards for the elderly or whatever, it was like, I don't know, probably 6 hours of printing. My shoulder was out for like 3 days. It's just like, it's brutal how hard.
Explain what these prints are.
Can
you explain what these prints are for the elder? For someone who might not have seen
just little like
on Instagram.
Like cards, like encouragement cards,
Yeah,
okay.
You are loved. It said you are loved, the ones that we were printing.
Yeah,
very
good. They're just cards for people to. There's a huge elderly population in Florida, right? So there's all these. So I'm in a group and they're doing a on Saturdays we show up and have coffee with them and just hang out, give them a little card.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
You have so much stuff on the go. It's crazy. Like
there's
the stuff. I think
it's crazy. There's no free time.
So
no, the latest thing it seems to be eating up most of your time is this table. Like, why would you not just build a table for yourself and be like, fuck it, the tattoo world doesn't need tables?
Yeah, I mean, and that's I don't know. That's probably where I'm actually going to go with it because, I mean, I don't want to sit on here and harp on negatives either, but I'm going to. It's almost like
shipping that thing must be crazy.
It's insane. And the problem is it's just like when you guys make a painting, right? everybody you know is like, oh man, make a print of that. I want to grab one. And then you make prints and no one grabs one. You know what I mean? You end up with a bunch of prints in your, it's like, cool. Where'd everyone go?
Yeah, it's how much for
What
that?
I've
Oh, that's
learned with the table project is that, and I would actually like to discourage people from doing it because it is such a pain in the ass. It is like, it's a super expensive thing. I mean, I've built 2 of these now, and they're so expensive to build. They're expensive to build. They're bulky, heavy. And at the end of the day, if you don't have the fortitude to stand up all day and work, it's a piece of garbage. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't work for sitting down.
Yeah.
So what happens is people.
I noticed.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go on.
What I just
I was just gonna say, I did notice a few years ago that you stand.
Yeah, all the time.
How long have you been standing and tattooing full time?
I think 11 years.
Jesus.
That's a lot.
Why did that come about? Is that just back issues like the rest of us, or
my back was destroyed? I couldn't work. And part of it was just from me being unhealthy. I had a terrible workaholic syndrome in my 20s and 30s. And so I would just tattoo every chance I got, and I would paint all night, every night. So if I was awake, I was sitting in a chair doing something art related, and that was just terribly detrimental on my health. So my 30s, I was going to have to quit tattooing. Like, I couldn't sit down. So I started standing up because I had no other choice. If I wanted to keep working, I had to stand up. So I built the table, and then all these other tattooers start pouring out where they're like, hey man, my back's wrecked. Like, that thing helped you, like, help me get one. And so I helped a handful of people build them. But what I found is some people really enjoy standing up, and some people like the idea of it, and they're not going to do it because it's a lot of work. You go home at night, you're just wiped out. Like, your feet hurt. It's harder on your lower back. It's hard on your neck. So it's not like a complete problem solver. There's other problems that pop up.
Absolutely.
No, but what I like about standing, I stand maybe half the time, is that you're not static. When you're sitting, you're pretty static and you're cramped up, and at least when you're standing, you're walking around the table a little bit. You're like bending your legs. I find it's much easier on the body, much easier. I don't tattoo the hours you do, but
I don't work crazy anymore. Like, I fixed that. Like, I'm not the obsessive workaholic anymore, but I have to force myself to be.
No.
Yeah.
Except that you're always doing stuff.
You're always doing.
You're not the obsessive tattooer anymore.
Correct.
No, your work-life balance has become an obsession, it sounds like.
Oh, totally. I have to schedule, like, time to relax. It's funny.
Oh, that's all.
All right. Let's rewind it here a little bit and actually get you to introduce yourself to the people that may not know who you are. Yeah. Go ahead.
My name's Phil Holt, and I tattoo in Tampa, Florida. That's about it.
That's it. Perfect. Let's start there. When did you start tattooing?
Oh, at 96. That's probably the best way to say it.
Okay.
Yeah. So
what got you interested in tattooing? Were you like some of us, early exposure to bodysuits and tattoos and bikers and shit like that? Is it that kind of story? Were you an art kid the whole time?
I was about 12 or 13, and my brother started bringing home like outlaw biker magazines and that sort of thing. He's a couple years older than me, and also he tattooed for about 20 years. And he started bringing home outlaw biker magazines, and I think he liked the motorcycles and titties, and I liked the tattoos. I just remember being like, wow, like, that's something else. So just got fascinated with it super young.
Yeah.
And then when I was in high school,
do any
I had a friend, kind of older guy. I was 15, 16 years old. He was 26, 27. And at some point he was just kind of like, it wasn't like a formal apprenticeship, but he was just like, man, if you want to kind of, shadow me and just kind of pick up what you can, like, I'll help you out. And we were pretty down and out. Like, I'm not gonna sing songs of poverty, but we were pretty thin when I was a kid. So, he felt bad and was like, man, like this is this kid's like only chance. So he kind of let me kind of hang out and pick up some tricks, and I started tattooing. And immediately after that,
this is in Florida. Are you born and raised Florida?
no. So I grew up in Minnesota, out in the farmlands.
Okay.
Oh shit.
Yeah, moved to Florida when I was 15, and then immediately met this guy Reed, and he showed me some stuff and tattooed here. I started tattooing here, and then I moved to Ohio. Worked there for a couple years, and I worked in Chicago for a couple years. Then I moved
How
to
old
San
were you when you started tattooing?
What's that?
How old were you when you started tattooing? Sounds like you should still be in high school.
Yeah, 18. Yep. So,
yeah,
but I mean,
yeah.
The start for me wasn't like clear. It wasn't like a clear cut. You know what I mean? Like, I was 18. I had my head firmly up my ass. I didn't know what I was doing, and so I just ran around, and it was like crusty punk rock kind of tattooing local skater kids and just whatever I could, until I finally got a job working at like a legitimate studio, which took probably about a year and a half to get like a job. I worked at a couple studios, but they were all no one was teaching me or showing me anything. So it took a couple years to like land in a studio where I was actually learning.
So those early years in your tattooing, were you aware of what was going on in tattooing in the industry at large, or were you just doing your own thing and being a typical skate punk kid?
No, I mean a bit. For Florida's always been behind the times, and kind of I feel like Florida's always about 10 years behind the rest of the world, or at least with tattooing, it's always kind of lagging behind. But the guy that kind of got me into tattooing, he was from New York, and he was just a diehard custom tattooer. Like he was super enamored with guys like Timothy Hoyer and Rob Koss and Philip Blue, and so I got introduced to those guys like right out the gate, which definitely helped.
Nice.
So my head was automatically fixated on like, if you want to be a tattooer, like you want to tattoo like Hoyer, which I think in 95, 96 was, at least for here, that was rare. Like it was hard to, I mean, it is trippy because, if I think back to like the young version of who I was, or like how I grew up, guys like Hoyer and Rob Koss and stuff, they were just like untouchable heroes, and now I'm friends
and
with them.
Still,
it's
totally.
No, I know. Like I still see Hoyer putting up those goddamn fucking paintings that he's doing, the close-ups of it. I'm like,
it doesn't. He's just on a whole different wavelength. It's crazy. Yeah.
So I think a lot of us, we are most familiar with your work when you really started. God, I'm trying to think of the shop where you started. Why is it? I remember seeing pictures in a magazine, I think. I'm trying to remember. I don't know if it might have been Chicago.
At Deluxe. Yeah.
I think it was. What was the question now?
I mean, Deluxe was super pivotal for
totally.
Like that was a super pivotal shot.
Where I was trying to get to. What happened? Like, what was it? Was it just the environment, people you're working with? Did you just latch on to something and you're just like, fuck it, I gotta go?
Wait, ask your question again.
Because
why did I go to Chicago, or why did I leave?
Oh, part of it is like, why did you go to Chicago? But what was it about working there that really accelerated your growth? Because it seemingly, to a lot of us who became familiar with you around that time, you came out of nowhere, and it was just like, oh, who's this guy?
What would you think accelerated my growth at Deluxe? Tim Bieber. I mean, like working next to that guy.
That doesn't happen for everybody.
You do,
Yeah.
I mean,
it doesn't happen for.
I mean, everybody there was awesome. Like I was
So I might understand the answer to your question, but there's going to be people listening that have no idea what Deluxe is.
Was
They're
or
going to have
is?
no
Yeah,
idea
I don't know
what
what
the
it is anymore, to be
yeah.
honest. So when I worked there, so I was working in Ohio at Stain Skin, and Ben offered me a job, and it was just like kind of a no brainer. Like there's no. I mean, I remember when he offered me the job, I was just like, you know, I'm gonna take it. Like there's no, like don't throw that around like I'm not gonna show up tomorrow. Like if you're serious, I'm like I'll be there. And he's like, no man, he's like, we'd love to have you. And I was just like, okay, like I'll move. So I just packed up and left Ohio, moved to Chicago. And at the time it was Ben and Harlan Thompson and Dennis Hallbriter and Tim Biedron. And this is like December of 99, you know? So I was like 20.
Amazing.
3. I was like 23. You know, Tim's probably 25, 24, 25. And then Harlan and Dennis and Ben are probably, they're all a little older. Like, I don't remember, 28, something like that, you know, but we're all young.
Yeah.
And it was just it was an amazing environment. You know, it was just like at every studio I've ever worked at, I've had like, I could be wrong, but the way I've always interpreted it is every studio that's ever hired me has kind of had this like, oh man, he's great, let's hire him. And then once I get there, they're like, he's not up to speed at all. Like, but now I just moved across the world to work here. So it's like, well, we can't fire him. We better get him up to speed. So I've always had people help out a ton, you know. And Deluxe, you know, I mean, like there was always people helping me out, helping me learn. I had no business working there, you know.
Dennis Hallbriter, me and him go back, and he's always spoke highly of Deluxe. He always said that was a very pivotal place for him to work, and he's actually back near there now. I believe. I think he moved back to Chicago.
Did he? Okay, I talked to him.
Yeah,
a couple years ago now. He'd moved back to Detroit, I think. But I haven't.
Oh, Detroit, yes.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think it was Detroit. Yeah,
Detroit, yeah.
I haven't talked to that guy since we were in LA together and saw him, Dave. So,
yeah,
yeah, Dennis is a good guy.
Yeah, yeah, he's awesome. And it was just. I mean,
how many years?
I love the delay.
How many years were you? I know we're on a bad delay on this one. How many years did you spend at Deluxe?
2.
Okay.
Yep.
And then where did you go?
Then while I was at Deluxe, Adrian Lee offered me a job at New School.
Oh man.
Kinda. It was almost like yeah, you know, maybe you could work here. And so I moved out on a maybe. It was a little more clandestine than that, but yeah. So I moved out to San Jose New School. So and I'd been doing guest spots there. Like while I worked at Deluxe, I was doing guest spots at New School in San Jose. So I moved out there with the intent to work there, and it worked out. And I was there for a couple years.
Yeah.
Were you married at this time? Because it seems like you're moving around a lot. Like you had no problem just dropping everything and moving for an opportunity.
So yeah, I mean, I was. You want to talk about my ex-wife? I was married.
No, not at all.
Yeah, I was. Yeah. So, and a couple of the moves we were actually like going through divorces, but it was mutual, like, you know, get out of town. So, you know, we did.
Yeah. Now, how important is that in an early person's career? No, not divorce. Moving towns.
That was actually.
I've always thought that it's in my own career that moving played a big part in helping me get along down the road, meet new people and stuff like that. Did you use it to your advantage that way as well? I mean, you went to great studios, but did you find that it helped you accelerate your learning? And
Yeah, I mean, a couple things were huge. One, I legitimately think that I was always at the bottom of the bucket. Like, I think that's a fair assessment that everybody would agree with. Like, I think all the people that I worked with were just so much further along than I was that there's no way for that not to be beneficial. And I think having the commitment of, like, I'm going to move my family here, I think it kind of put the screws to everyone that, like, we can't just kick him out. Like, he's got to stay. So, yeah. So I think it did kind of like anchor me in, like my commitment factor, I think helped out. Had I just been local, I don't think it would have worked. You know what I mean? Like, I think it would have been easier to be like, well, you know, like, that guy's kind of weird. Like, get him out of here or whatever, you know? So I think it kind of like solidified my station or whatever. But the other thing that was just dramatic, and I hate to be the old guy that's going to sit on here and lament the glory days pre-internet, but there was no way back then to be exposed to what other like cities were doing, you know. And so in 1996, the tattooing that would happen in Florida was vastly different than what was going on in Ohio. And Ohio was kind of similar to Chicago, but not, you know what I mean? Like, Chicago still had this, like, you know, guilty and innocence presence, you know, like Guy Aitchison and Kim Sy and Rob Koss and John.
Yeah.
They had a thing going on that, like, changed the way people wanted to get tattooed. And then I left there and moved to San Jose, and it's like, you know, it's Ed Hardy explosion. And it's like, man, it was just so vastly different. That every place I went, I had to learn a new thing if I wanted to eat. Like, if I just wanted to, like, make it, I had to, because, you know, a guy in San Jose that wants to get an eagle tattooed on him is vastly different than the guy in Chicago that wants to get an eagle tattooed on him. They're not the same at all.
Totally.
You know? And so I don't know if that exists anymore. Like, I don't think it does.
No, we seem to live in a world of homogenized style, you know, or people just really hyper focused on one thing. And, you know, even in my own studio, there's people, they will not stray from what they do. And I don't know how that affects tattooing going forward. Like,
I don't know. It's kind of weird. And I've never flushed this idea out, but, you know, when we started tattooing, like, half of your ability to be a good tattooer was how well you could make needles on Sunday. Like, every Sunday for 12 years, I made needles, right? And I could make badass needles. So I could make better tattoos because I knew how to make it, whatever. That was, like, part of the thing. Well, it's pointless now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a thing that you learned that we mastered that's completely irrelevant. So I don't wonder if some of the, like, the newer generation that's coming up and they're, like, laser focused on one style, if that's not beneficial. It's super
for me,
hard
I think
to wrap my head around, because we had to learn how to do Americana stuff and Polynesian stuff and tribal and biomech, and you had to learn how to do everything because there just wasn't enough clients to feed yourself on. I mean, even now, like, I've been tattooing almost 30 years. I can't feed myself on just biomechanics. Like, I can't do it. Like, I wouldn't, you know, I'd be booked solid 3 days a week. Like, that's not enough. You know what I mean? Like, that's not enough. So, I wonder how these guys are working, or, like, if you only do one thing, I don't know how you find that many clients, but it seems like they do. So I don't know.
Or how they're only doing one thing in a shop with 4 other people doing that same one thing.
There's so many studios that just seem bonkers busy, like, just slammed with the same thing. And it's like, where do you find the clients that want to do that? It doesn't exist in my world at all.
It doesn't exist in mine. I wish it did, but it doesn't.
I just think a lot of young artists are missing out on a chance to.
I get bored fast, man. I would get really bored really fast.
Yeah.
And I think the variety is a great opportunity for you to expand your style and try new things, right? Like I'd hate to be just the guy who does one thing all the time and never try anything new, or else how do you progress? Like what's next? Like
Fatter lines.
Right, yeah. I mean, even when it comes down to just the avenue of tattooing, I can't do that. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
like I can't. Like it's like I tattoo all the time, so I need to sculpt and take piano lessons and train jujitsu and paint and like my brain won't let me just do one thing. Like I don't know if it's ADD or what, but like I just can't do it. So
yeah,
you've always had interesting work-life balance for someone who's a workaholic. Like when we met back in the day, it was fishing. It was something you were mad crazy about, and I don't think every time I've talked to you since, I don't think you've ever gone fishing since then. You're onto something else, and whether it's jujitsu or whatever. How important is that in your creative life?
Having a balance or being like, what's important?
Well, a balance outside of tattooing. Like some tattooers think a balance to tattooing is painting, and I could see that, but it's not really a life balance. Like I need extreme physical activity to balance out a cerebral daily life. That's the only way I find creativity and balance.
Yeah.
How does that work for you?
So I am super obsessed about jujitsu as a discipline. Like, but there's a really weird caveat to my addiction. So I try to go Monday through Friday, and like my goal is to go every day Monday through Friday. That doesn't work. Like I'm 46 years old. It's hard to do it every day, but I usually land there 3 to 4 days a week. But the caveat is that the school I train at, I've known some of these guys for like 20 years. And so they pick my 8th grader up at school, and they've done it for years now. So they pick him up at school. He goes to the academy. He helps out. He takes his classes. And so I have to walk in at 6 o'clock to pick my son up, which is when my class is. So I'm already there. Might as well train. So it's like, it's a really weird sweet spot that's not going to last forever. Being able to have a hobby like jujitsu where you can do it all the time, there's a ton of little dials that have to fit perfectly for it to work. And so right now it works. It won't work, so for now it's a super good life balance. And also, with jujitsu, it's like my wife trains, both of my sons train. They're all really good. Oh. So we have mats at the house. It's just in our family diet at this point,
That's amazing.
How long are you training for?
Well, I started training when I lived in San Jose, so that was 02 or 03 or whatever. And then because of my back problems, I didn't train in my 30s much. Did some boxing, did some kickboxing in my 30s, but my back was too shot for jiu-jitsu. So I've been back for about 7 years. Yeah. And it's good. We have a super good gym, lots of pro fighters and lots of old guys that just want to have a good time, and no weird meatheads. It's like a good environment. So that kind of makes it easier to deal with. But it does
nice.
It robs your life of all the other stuff. Like it's not like we don't do anything else. Like we don't go fishing. And I live on the Gulf of Mexico. We just never go. And also because I suck at it. I can't catch fish to save my life. So that's part of it. Like I love being outdoors, and I love camping, and I do some bow hunting and stuff, but it's really hard for me to like enjoy Florida for the like the ecosystem here is just not, it's not something I'm super into. Like I grew up in Minnesota, so I'm super used to like the north, and I spend every November bow hunting at my uncle's in Wisconsin, and that pretty much gets that's all my outdoor activity that I can really take. Florida is just not, it's just not fun. It's not. I don't want to camp.
It's fucking hot, humid.
It's hot. It's everything's poisonous, venomous. I mean,
everything wants to kill you.
it's just nuts, man. I'm not used to. I mean, I've been here a long time, and I'm not used to it. You know, so.
What made you pick Florida, Tampa?
Well, I didn't.
It sounds like it.
Yeah, ex-wife. Yeah, I had no intentions of.
Man, we have a lot in common.
Yeah, I never thought that I would get stuck in Florida. Like, no way. Like, I moved here when I was in high school. I absolutely hated it. I remember my mom. I came home from school when I was 15, and there was a moving truck at the house, and she was like,
"Oh fuck."
I'm like, what the hell's a moving truck? And she's like, well, and we'd moved like 3 times that year. And she's like, oh, we're moving to Florida. And I'm like, what, volleyball? Like, what am I going to do in Florida? Like, I ice skate. I have a snowmobile. I want to go ice fishing and camping. And like, what am I going to do in Florida? So
I love she didn't tell you.
I absolutely, and so I got out of here as soon as I could. But then was going through a divorce and ended up back in Florida and whatever. I'm here now. So, and this is the other thing. Me and my wife have always planned on, my current wife, we've always planned on as soon as my youngest son is 18, we're gone. We're done. And I've been I've been fantasizing for 15 years to move to Norway. And I really want to, and I really like it. And I've had it all mapped out, like kind of obsessively, have figured out how to pull the trigger and make it work. And then COVID just really took the wind out of my sails. So the thought of like, I've kind of had this, like, so it's tons of personal stuff here, but my oldest son's in the military and he's been in for 6 years. He's 25. It doesn't look like he's moving back to Tampa. Not sure what my 20-year-old's going to do, but I could see him moving for sure. My 18-year-old daughter already moved away to go to college. So it's like, if all my kids are going to leave, there's no reason for me to stay here, And so we can move to Norway. And when I want to see the kids, I'll just fly home. And then when COVID happened and they got locked down, I'm like, crap, man, I could get stuck in Norway and not be able to see my kids. So that kind of took the wind out of my sails, but they're also young still and rely on me. When they're older and don't rely on me, it might be easier to leave the country.
Wait till they have grandkids, and then you're fucked. Then you're not going anywhere.
I already do.
Oh shit! Oh fuck!
Grandpa.
You're not even 50. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm 46. My oldest is 25, and he has a 1-year-old. So there you go. Do the math.
Oh my god, that's awesome!
Congrats! Welcome to the club.
I know.
Years ago, you wanted to find out about moving to Canada. Whatever happened to that?
I've tried to move all over. I have honestly, I've never found any place that felt like home. I kind of always, California felt close, but not anymore. It's been too long. It's been too long. So but yeah, the Bay Area always kind of felt like I lived there for a couple years, and it was probably those sweet spot years, 26, 27, or 31, like those kind of years where you really lock in on an area. So that felt like home, but it doesn't anymore. So.
Yeah, that was like me for Vancouver.
Yep.
Yeah. I think tattooing ruins us, a lot of us. We move around and do guest spots and go to conventions and work in different cities, and then we never get a chance to settle down. We never feel like we're at home.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I'm in Edmonton, Alberta.
Okay.
What's that?
Where are you guys now?
I'm in Edmonton, Alberta now.
Okay.
I'm in the interior of BC.
You're in Kelowna, right?
Kelowna. Yeah.
Okay.
You should come check it out.
Where did you guys grow up?
Scarborough. Toronto.
Okay.
Yeah, we both grew up in Toronto, didn't know each other, met in Vancouver.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I've never been to either.
So, yeah, I started tattooing in Toronto in 90 and then moved to Vancouver in 94.
Okay.
Shawn's to blame for my career.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Shawn, you taught him, or
Yeah.
yeah? Oh, okay. Cool. That's awesome.
Yeah. At Sacred Heart. So
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's where I met you, right, Dave? Yep.
Yep.
Back in
my memory serves correct. Yeah, one of the conventions.
One. Yeah. 01? Something like that.
Probably right around then. I think I was an apprentice at the time.
Oh, were you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
It was the first Vancouver convention.
Yeah.
Because I remember I didn't go, and Dave came to see me and was like, "You should come to the convention. There's lots of people asking about you." And I took 18 months off of tattooing after that time because I was getting clean off drugs, and I was just like, I don't care.
Right. Yep. Well, that's good.
So,
that was a fun show.
Yeah. So, and he's telling me about all the people he's meeting, and I'm just like, I don't care.
Yeah.
For an apprentice, it was like the craziest fucking show. It was like Trevor McStay, Corey Flatmo, fucking
me and Trevor got
Dutchy.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, me and Trevor must have been like, I don't know, man. We must have. I forget how this went now, but night before our flight, like 2 a.m. or something, we decided to go get Chinese food and. Or 11 o'clock at night or something. And we sit in some restaurant and eat all night, and both of us got terribly sick. I'm pretty sure we both missed our flight. Yeah. That's right.
Fuck,
That's
brutal.
So many. I feel like I'm bummed that I wasn't more intentional and aware of what I was doing when I was younger. Because looking back on it, it's like the problem of being like full tilt insomniac, working all the time, just like just moving so fast. I just don't remember half the stuff I did. Like I'll hear other people talk about it. I'm like, oh yeah, that was cool. I forgot it even happened.
Yeah. We were just having a conversation just the other day, me and you, about concussions and
right. Yeah.
How's that had a long-term effect on you? I know it's affected me.
I've had long-term effects from it. I don't know if I do anymore, which could be a long-term effect. Like maybe I'm not aware of how stupid I am. But the last one I had was pretty bad for pretty months, like maybe a year, 6 months to a year.
Did it affect how much you could tattoo? Did you have to take time off of work?
Yeah, it did. But I had like full swing. Like I had like the full like. I remember when I had it being, like I remember I think it was about 4 days later I was still throwing up. So I went and had I had to go, get an MRI or a CAT scan or one of those. And the doctor that did the CAT scan was just like, look, man, like, how many of these have you had? And I was like, well, this is number 4. And he's like, look, I think at the time I was 42 or something like that. And he was just like, look, like, this is going to be a different one. Because the other concussions I had, I was in my like 20s. And this one, he was just like, look, be aware of what's going to happen. Like you're going to have potential anger issues. You could be suicidal. You could, he started laying out all the like CTE stuff, which I'm already kind of aware of.
Yeah.
I already know that world a little bit. And I went through the full swing, like went through like massive, like suicidal thoughts for like no reason. And so what was comforting about it was, I'd wake up with these like, just thoughts of like, man, it's not worth it. Kill yourself. And it was like, yeah, this is that
crazy.
And so since I knew it was the concussion, it was easy to not like, it was almost like I could almost like view what was happening from outside, where it was like, oh yeah. Like your chemicals in your brain are, betraying you right now. Don't worry about it. You'll be better. And so they, eventually it wore off. But yeah, it was pretty bad for a while.
That's what I like about jujitsu, man. No concussions. Well, lower chances of concussions.
Yeah.
I got that one in jujitsu.
Yeah.
Yep. Took a.
Oh shit.
Yeah, that one was jujitsu. A guy flailed out and kneed me in the head. It was just a fluke.
Yeah, see, that's a fluke. Exactly. I've taken spinning elbows in jujitsu. It's like, why did a spinning elbow just fucking happen?
Yeah, totally.
But it does sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I've also had multiple situations where I've just like, left the cabinet door open and hit my head on it, where I'm dazed for, hours. Where it's just sometimes it's just a fluke. It's not anything you can protect yourself from. So,
Yeah.
It's interesting that concussions and the stuff that leads to it, like mental health issues and stuff like that, is something that it's just something it seems like in tattooing nobody talks about. We talk about it in shops and everything, but there's no real. I mean, our industry is just plagued with people that are dealing with mental health issues. They come into the industry with their fucking baggage, and then they're dealing with it as adults. It's
right.
I can only imagine working in it. Like I wish there was something where we could provide resources or something, or just even start the conversation about dealing with mental health issues and who to talk to. And
yeah, I mean, it's so weird. I think getting older, growing up, whatever, like looking out. I mean, I work alone now, so a lot of my interactions with like what the tattoo world is almost memories at this point. It's like I can think back to different studios I've worked with, or people that have worked with me, or studios that I've worked for, or whatever, and I can kind of just reminisce about the crazy characters that have shared rooms with or whatever. But I don't really, now it's just a memory. You know what I mean? It's just like a thing that happened, which it's weird to look back on and be like, man, like everybody's unique,
damaged,
eccentric, like even just like the talent side, like even if you look at it just from like, like a positive side, like everybody right now globally is dealing with that whole like imposter syndrome thing, right? Like you hear about it all the time.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter it doesn't matter what you've done. Like it doesn't matter what weird craft you're into, or if you've never been into a craft, people are suffering with imposter syndrome. But that's magnified. I mean, maybe I'm being dramatic, but I think for me, it's like really crazy because I've worked with so many just amazing, like, I mean, I've just worked with the most amazing tattooers in the world, I think, that have ever lived. And it's like, yeah, that's like, I have gnarly imposter syndrome because I can just sit back and think of I can sit back and think of what Adam Barton was doing in 2001. And I'm like, how have I still not caught up? Like I'm still not caught up. It's crazy, So there's a positive.
Does that fuel you? Does that fuel you? Is that
no? But I don't think it drags me down either.
No. Yeah. Like the fear of being found out doesn't drive you to try harder.
I don't think so. Like in a competitive sense, I don't think so. I mean, I'm constantly inspired by, all sorts of things, so, no, it probably should be, it probably should be more motivating. No, I think I just like observe it as like, I mean, like Tim Biedron, like I was talking to him a little bit this morning, just over texts, but, he posted a picture the other day and I was just like he's just been so good like my whole career. It's just like, he just continually gets, I don't even know if he's getting better. He's just always been so incredibly good that if I really paid attention to it, I'd be a plumber. Like I would just, if I really focused on his abilities, I would just find something else to do. It wouldn't motivate me because there's no catching up to it. It's almost like being like, oh man, I love how Mike Tyson can box. It's like, well, that's not going to motivate me to go be a boxer. I know that's never going to happen. Like, I'm never going to throw a punch like Tyson.
Yeah.
So it could be a
that comparison is dangerous.
Counterproductive inspiration, but I just observe it, enjoy it, and then move on.
Yeah. I think that's the problem with social media these days, is it allows you to compare yourself to so many people that it could sink your confidence so fast.
Oh yeah. If you let it.
That was the nice thing about that was the nice thing about magazines, right? You only got magazines like sometimes quarterly back in the day, where it was like, oh, this is so amazing. I feel bad about myself. Shut the magazine and you forget about it. Now it's just like a constant stream. If you pay, like you said, if you pay attention, it's like, oh, fuck, man, I should just quit. It's like, I just don't pay attention.
The weird caveat with magazines was always like, if you did have an article come out, it's 6 years late. Like I've had articles come out where you're like, I haven't lived in that state in 4 years. And you know what I mean? Like, this work is art. It's ancient. It's terrible. So there was also that thing, being in it, whenever you did see stuff, you would know that this stuff's old. It's already aged out, because by the time it went to production, by the time it went through all the, whatever they had to do, it was like the stuff you're like, I wish I hadn't sent that in, where now it's instant. You can upload it and then it's there forever also, which is weird. It's instantaneous and permanent.
So with all the things that we'll get into other things that you've started stuff. You never built machines though, did you?
I did for a little bit. Yep.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I had in Chicago. I actually had a little Shoreline mill, and did some machines on that. And then at the first Red Letter one, well, actually the first 2 Red Letter ones, we had a machine shop, and so all of us built machines. Okay. And it was just not my thing. Like, I built a handful of machines. One of the guys at the time was one of the employees, who then later became one of the shop owners, was just super superior with, like, his machines are just fantastic. So, and that was right when I started Old Gold. And it just didn't make sense to waste any time building machines, because his were so good that it was like, well, I'll just use yours forever and I'll make pigment. And that was the way it worked. So.
Yeah.
I definitely did with him. I'm not super mechanically inclined. Like, I don't have that engineer brain like that. I don't have it.
Yeah. When did you start making pigment?
Probably 98, 97, 98, something like that.
Yeah.
But again,
something you just started for yourself first?
By default, right? Like, everybody made pigment. You just, if you wanted to tattoo, you made pigment. And, Spalding and National were always there. And so it was never something that I intended to do on a production level. I fell into that, like, totally fell into it. But I always really enjoyed making pigment, and I think I made pigment probably at every shop I ever worked at. We always had a.
You still making pigment?
No, I don't think I ever will. Yeah. I have enough left.
God damn it, Phil Holt! I'm almost out of my red.
I know. Dude, you'd be stunned at how many emails I get.
I wouldn't actually.
I think when I have a lot of color left, and I don't know if I'm joking, but I think when it's done, I quit. Like, I think if I run out, I'm just going to stop tattooing. So, which I think I will run out. I do think it'll happen, but that's kind of been my goal. It's like, I want to get rid of it and then quit. I don't know if I'll actually pull the trigger on that, but
I know you keep doing those draws every once in a while. It's like, God damn it.
So I had this, I don't know why, I had an idea when I shut the company down that I would box up a bunch of assorted pigment and seal it and seal all the boxes. And so I did. So I still have, I don't know, a lot. Yeah, I still have a pretty good handful, but I have no idea what I have. Like, I don't know if I have 1 bottle of red or 15. I don't know if I have a bottle of pink. I might have 70 bottles of blue. I have no idea. So
Hilarious.
it was kind of, it was a pretty, when I had to shut the company down, it was a pretty chaotic time of life. So I just did what I had to do. So.
Yeah. When you announced that shutting down, I ordered lots of powder from National and went back to mixing my own. So,
and dude, I never would have saw them go out. I never would have saw that coming. And so,
no,
I thought I had National in my back pocket where I wasn't worried about any of it, because it's like, oh well, worst case scenarios, I'll just go back to making National, not a big deal, and gone, like, over. And I think I kind of missed, if there was any forecast that was going to happen. I missed the memo. I had no idea that was going to happen.
Yeah,
Just one day it was gone.
Yeah,
it was like,
I had. Yeah, I had just ordered a bunch of dry powder from them, and then literally, like, I don't know, a month later, my buddy Len from the East Coast here on Canada, he messaged me in a panic because he's like, National's gone. I'm like, what are you talking about? I just got a huge box from them, and he's like, they're gone. That's just like, okay, well, I'm okay.
Yeah, I mean, I wish there if I'd have known there was some colors I would have loaded up on, but yeah, whatever.
Yeah. They were out of probably because of the Euro scare. They were definitely out of all the blues. So, but whatever.
What are you gonna do if you run out of pigment? What are you gonna retire and do? What?
Man, if you had any ideas, let me know. I've no idea. No clue. No clue.
You don't have any schemes dreamed up?
No. I mean, in a sense, it like keeps me up at night. You know what I mean? Like I think about it constantly. I can't imagine how long I'm gonna want to do this. I mean, that's part of the problem. Is it's just like, how long would I actually stay interested in this? Like, it's 27 years now. Maybe 13 more years. That seems fair, but at that point I'm 56, 57, 50, almost 60 years old. Do I want to be the guy that's like, what am I going to do at 60? Like, open up a street shop and hire a bunch of 20-year-olds to, it's like, I don't think,
hire a bunch of 50-year-olds. There's going to be a lot of them.
Yeah, I don't know.
Don't kid yourself. There's going to be a lot of older guys.
I mean, what do you guys think? Like, how long are you going to hang in there?
I don't know, man. I'm running out of steam.
Yeah. I mean, part of it,
trying to build another company so I can segue out, but
I think part of it's just all the things that come along with it are feeling more taxing. Like, the business side is a little more taxing than I'd expected. So, will I quit tattooing? I probably won't. I'll probably tattoo until I'm dead. But am I going to keep working in my own studio and paying like outrageous prices for rent? And it's like 5 days a week, 10 hours a day. You're like, it's getting old.
Oh, fuck no.
Yeah. And I mean, I've got my clientele is amazing. Like, I don't know if I have anybody on my schedule that I wouldn't love to hang out with. Like, every single person I tattoo is like super nice. I mean, I don't have a ton of free time to like have, like actual friendships, which that's fine. That sounds terrible. But I mean, I don't have time to just go like hang out and, do stuff. tattoo, and my schedule's super rigid. But I kind of get all of the social interactions out just going to work. You know, it's like I
Totally.
work alone. I tattoo one person, 2 people a day. They're awesome. Like all my clients are just like, I'm super excited every day for my client to come in and hang out. So I'm operating in this really weird sweet spot, and I'm still pretty worn out. You know, it's pretty like the grind of keeping up is like, ugh, it's getting old. So I think I probably have another 10 years in me. And I think then I'm going to have to find something else to do. You know, if you guys have any ideas, let me know.
Yeah. Jiu-jitsu gym, buddy. That's what I want to do.
No, I definitely wouldn't want to be involved in that world either. Not at the business level.
I just want it small enough where I can just train every day when I want.
Yeah, I like that, and that's also the weird sweet spot of having kids that train. Is, I mean, my 20-year-old is a freaking monster. Like, you know, I think he probably started training when he was 10. And he's just, you know, 135 pounds, strong as an ox, wrestled for 4 years. His jujitsu's great. I can barely hold on to him, you know. So we can just train at the house.
Yeah.
Like I got like this built-in like training academy, you know, with my kids. So I'm gonna ride that out as long as I can.
Nice. Yeah. I have a few of those young kids at my gym. They're very annoying. God damn it. Why are you so strong and so good? Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Endless gas tank. Yep.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I'm fucking wheezing 30 seconds in.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I know that.
Yeah. I want to talk a little bit more about retirement. You've been talking to your peers a lot. What are they saying about getting out of tattooing?
Oh, I don't talk to anybody.
They have a plan?
You guys are the first tattooers I've talked to in years.
Oh, come on.
No, I'm not joking. I'm totally not joking. I think probably the only person.
It's not like you're an asshole.
Well, some people would argue. I talked to Tim Biedron. Actually, you know what? I don't talk to him that much anymore, and I should. And that's just me being a bad friend. But historically, me and him have always been super tight, and we talk about work all the time. So we soundboard off each other a bit. But otherwise, man, I don't really communicate a ton anymore. So I don't know what other people's. I don't know if I think everybody, when I do talk to them, that's in, you know, our age bracket, everybody's kind of like, I don't know, like it's weird, like the world's weird.
Yeah.
You know, where things are just kind of upside down, and it's kind of like, I feel like tattooing became something that's not what we signed up for. Like it seemed like like at least for me, what I had in my head about what the future would hold was at least visible. You know what I mean? It wasn't a fantasy. You could be the 23-year-old tattooer and look at someone like, say, Mick in Zurich and be like, oh, well, this is what the future holds. Like if you hold out for 20 years, eventually, you know, you could attain this goal of Mick or a Trevor McStay, or, you know, there's been a handful of guys, you know, that are that generation in front of us that were doing it and owning it the way that the generation in front of them did. And I think that's gone. Yeah. I mean, I would argue, I would bet that most of the guys that we got into this for, like where we were like, man, these guys are so inspiring, I want to do this. The kids that are absolutely killing it now, that are really, really good at this, have no idea who any of them are. Like they're just completely, it's like
there's too many.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But do you think guys that came before us had the same kind of opinion?
I think it even boils down to the simplicity of book publications versus TikTok, or you know what I mean? It's like they're just not even comparable. Like we would grow up. I mean, I can't. I have no idea how many books I have that were printed before I was even born that are super important books, right? I feel like that side of inspiration for younger artists is gone. Like they don't like even my own kids, like my 18-year-old daughter, like she's in art school. She's an awesome artist. She's got a ton of skill. She's going to do something. I I guarantee you she doesn't have an art book in the house anywhere. Like she doesn't have one
It's
because
crazy.
it's just a different there's almost no point for them to have one. Like everything's accessible online. And it just changes the way people are like solidified. Like once it's once that rhythm, it's like just all over the place, you know.
Yeah. It's like all the tattooers now that have to do reels because apparently the way algorithms on Instagram are, so now they're all doing reels and shit and acting like fucking total tools doing these skits and shit. And I'm like, oh fuck, can't tattooing just be tattooing again? Like,
I mean, and
I don't
then
mind all that.
it's like, man,
Yeah, like I don't mind all the changes.
it's just everything gets weird when it becomes this thing of like, I need to feed myself. You know what I mean? And that sort of desperation, all of a sudden it's like, all of a sudden you're twerking on TikTok to get likes because it's
Working
like
for tattoos on TikTok.
yeah, I mean it's like
I
I can't be judgmental on it because for whatever reason, like I'm busy enough that I don't have to, and I have no idea why I'm as busy as I am, but I don't have to necessarily whore myself out on Instagram to get a client in the door. But it's like I have tried to shut my account off so many times, and I've done it occasionally for, I'll make it 6 months, 7 months, a couple times I've done that. And then all of a sudden it's like, man, my schedule's getting kind of thin, like maybe I should turn that back on, and I'll turn it back on. And then all of a sudden I'll start getting clientele again. And it's just like, fuck, am I actually tethered to this thing? Like, can I not make a living without this? And the reality is it's like stitched into it. It's just part of it now. And that's with someone, I mean, I've tattooed for almost 30 years. What about the guy that's been tattooing for 2 years that just wants to work? It's like, well, how do you get any traction? Because it doesn't seem like there's, at least for where I live, there's not really like a community with like boots on the ground. Like they don't have like everybody's just stuck on their phone, so they're not interacting. You're probably getting that social dopamine hit with your likes and approvals online, so you don't go to the skate park, or you don't go to punk rock shows, or you're not out there actually meeting people. And that's how tattooing got started for me. I knew people socially, and they were like, oh, well, Phil's trying to be a tattooer, let's get a tattoo by him. And that was it. It was just it was all social. So unless you belong,
how do you make noise on social media? How do you make noise on social media when everyone's got the same fucking megaphone too? Like, it's like, how do you stand out? How does it help?
You remake the same reels of clients getting on tables in funny ways, I guess, like everybody else is making.
I mean, it's so bizarre.
It's kind of like a modern carny thing, right? Like everyone's like doing the hock and jive and everything. It's just a digital version of it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to do what you got to do. I don't mind all the changes in tattooing, but it's some of the social media platform stuff I just can't.
Nope,
I just don't understand. I just don't understand it. I'm fucking old. I don't understand it.
And I think we're at like a weird, like I think our age is just like a weird middle ground, because everybody I know, like aunts, uncles, parents, they use social media all the time and do it terribly wrong. You know what I mean? Like they live on Facebook. Like my mom knows Facebook way better than I ever could possibly understand it. And it's like, oh, I don't want to communicate like that for sure. So it's like I can't do that world. Instagram definitely worked for a minute, but now I don't really understand it now. And then there's all the other Twitch and TikTok and all these things that I have no concept of. Even Twitter, I've never figured out how that even works or what the purpose is. And I know it's huge, and I know people use it and exploit it and do well on it, but it's like over my head. So yeah. I mean, but we're all in the same boat. I think our age group is just screwed. Yeah.
Yeah. 1 foot out the door.
But there's a lot of us. You know, it's not like the generation before us where there was like 2 old guys in town. There's like 100 old guys in town. You know, like
right.
I mean, tattooing.
Tattooing.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of my thought as well. Is like, I don't sit back and think like, man, I can't wait to not be a tattooer anymore. But I think that decision will be made for us.
Oh, fuck yeah. You age out.
Yeah, I think we're just going to run out. I think the well's just going to dry up. And I'm not super afraid of that or stressed out about it, or, you know, it's just, if it dries up, it dries up, and I'll move on and I don't know, figure something out. You know, I mean, like people work, people do.
I used to stress about that stuff. And then we got shut down for months for COVID, and I didn't get to work, and I was like not stressed out at all. So I was like, oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
The future is not so bad.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a lot of it too, is I think most, you know, I mean, back to like everybody, you know, being like a super creative workaholic, like you, at least for me, I constantly have this thought of like, I'm underperforming, you know, like everybody else is working so much better and so much harder. And that has a huge cloud of stress around it. Whereas you step out of tattooing, and if you're not exposed to that, you're like, well, these people don't really work that hard. Like they just, yeah, I mean, like they go to work, they work 40 hours a week, and then they go home and they don't work. And it's like, that's a concept that we can't really wrap our head around. I mean, every night, every morning, every day, like you never really aren't working. You're always creating something. You're always working on something. And it's enjoyable, but that's like a weird, you know, like people kind of have this thing of like, oh, well, you have your dream job, so that's awesome for you. And it's like, yeah, but it's still work. You know, it's like, you know what I mean?
And dream jobs can become prisons too, you know, like if you feel like you have no alternative because it's either too lucrative or you're supposed to enjoy this thing so much, it becomes its own kind of weird prison, you know, where you're not about to just drop it all and go do something else that you're interested in, you know?
Yeah, it can go either way, right? I mean, I know guys that run fishing charters that hate fishing now. And you know, I know fishing guides that just absolutely love the fact that that's their job. So some of it's just your perspective.
Absolutely.
And I do genuinely love tattooing. And I think that's where I'm sitting with the whole process as I think about it, is I feel so good when I'm actually tattooing. And as soon as I'm not tattooing, I hate it. I hate everything about it, like the aftermath, the promotion side of it, like the business aspect, like all the things you have to do to like try to let people know what you did so that you can get clientele. Like that side of it sucks. The actual process of just tattooing someone is so enjoyable. So it's worth all the crap you have to do to get to be able to do that too. You know, like that's
for sure.
That's the payoff.
I do miss being just like the little worker bee where there was a counter person that would just book shit for me, and I'd show up and be like, oh, this is what I'm tattooing this week? Cool. That's what I got to draw for this week? Awesome. You know, but now that I own the shop and I have to do all that other stuff, I'm just like, But yeah, I have to remember that's not tattooing. The actual, like, I had so much fun tattooing today because the guy I tattooed is a super nice guy, and I just had a great time for a few hours, and then I got to leave and come and do this with my best friend and stuff, and that's pretty fucking cool, right?
Yeah,
So,
it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think probably like, let's say 10 years from now, I'm no longer tattooing and whatever, then it'll become a memory again. The whole thing will be, man, that was awesome. Like that was so like, so unique, so weird. And you didn't even know it, you know? And that, I think that's the trippy part about at least the age I'm sitting at now, where I look back to things I did in my 20s, you know, like going to Japan to tattoo or whatever. And at the time, that just seemed like what tattooers do. Like everybody I knew goes to Japan and works at Three Tides, and you just do this thing. And now looking back, I'm like, oh, that's super weird to just like fly around the world to do whatever craft you have. You know, it's like
you lived in a bubble, Phil. You lived in a special bubble.
Totally, and had no idea, like had no clue.
Yeah,
because it becomes that. You know,
Japan.
What's that?
I went to Japan. Oh, sorry. I went to Japan. I went to Three Tides, but they didn't know who I was.
Yeah,
I couldn't even get tattooed.
Yeah, I got lucky for sure. But yeah, it becomes that, you know, like everybody always talks about comparison being like the death of joy kind of thing. I feel like it works both ways too. Like, you know, it's like you can compare yourself to other people in a negative all the time and drag yourself down.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You know, and that's a bummer.
Yeah.
But sometimes you also miss out on like all the positive stuff. I guess it's the same thing, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, you know, if I was to compare myself to your bubble, I could do it in a negative way, but then I had my own bubble. I got to be mentored by Bill Baker and work with Steve Moore and travel around like my parts of Canada that I enjoy and work with guys like James Tex and drink beers with Craig Fenrick and, you know, be in Toronto and Montreal with Dave C. And, you know, we all can in our own life, like exactly right. If we're
it's
just
it's amazing. Like
look
all
at
of
what we got
so
to do.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool as fuck.
Yeah. And you guys live in Canada, so you automatically win.
That's just the lucky sperm contest, you know?
Yeah.
Like, neither of you want to trade places with me.
Not Florida, no.
So it's like, yeah.
I'd think about it.
You come visit.
I'll come visit, man.
It's 1,000 degrees.
Yeah. I'll come in the winter.
I'll come and do jujitsu.
You should. I mean, yeah, both of you, anytime. Yeah, I've got all.
I'm not doing jujitsu because
we'll go. You can show me how to fish.
Sure, yeah, fishing.
Yeah,
totally.
Yeah. I don't know how to do it. I have a
sweet.
Just can't use it.
Oh, fuck, dude.
I mean,
we go out that sits on land.
No, we go out all the time. We just can't catch fish. I mean, we catch sharks all the time, but they suck. You know. Yeah.
Totally.
I need to take like serious lessons on how to fish. Saltwater throws me off.
You need to be.
No idea.
You need to mentor under a captain or something.
I mean, I've gone out a couple times and had people show stuff, but I've never been able to replicate it. You know. So a lot of it's, you know, water temperatures are constantly changing, and we've been plagued with red tide for about 5 years now.
Fuck, that's a long red tide.
Well, it comes. We had a bloom last year. I think that was 18 months long. You know, it'll vanish.
Jesus,
it'll vanish for 5 months. It'll pop back up for a year and a half. It's pretty bad.
Damn,
that's horrible.
Yeah, it's really bad.
Yeah,
and it's all
now.
It's all man-made. You know, it's all fertilizers and
of course
that no one cares about. You know, sugar fields.
Yeah,
just dumping poison into the ocean like it's fine. And, it sucks.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Hey, it's not oil, so why would anybody care?
Yeah,
right.
Totally.
Yeah. Nitrates. So it's
fine. So let me just go back and the bubble part. So because you have done you know, what other people would think is like the best shit, traveled everywhere. What's been like one of your kind of favorite or most memorable kind of like moment of travel and tattooing, whether it was a guest spot or just a convention or even just getting tattooed by somebody? Do you have that? Do you have that like romanticized moment in your brain?
Like favorite trip ish kind of thing? Like, is that what you mean? I feel like that was a lot. I, my, no, I don't, because I've traveled at least for what my expectations were. I've traveled a ton. And
Yeah.
I've just had really good experiences, like kind of everywhere I've gone. So I've had really good times in Zurich hanging out with Mick, and like I worked in Zurich quite a few times. Um, Always loved Switzerland, but the pinnacle for me has always been Norway. Um, and I've been there a few
Okay.
times. And I've just always had just the best time with the best people, and um, yeah, like Norway is my favorite for sure. So
Okay. Nice. Awesome.
Uh, top
and I
five
mean, and
tattooers of all time?
Japan was definitely pivotal, like huge. Like working in Japan was like really,
Yeah.
um, but like bizarre, like really just like starstruck, kind of like almost more than I could like understand how awesome it was. It was a lot to take in. Um, just everybody working at Three Tides, super intimidating. Um, everybody was super impressive, and the skill set was just really, really high. And being in Japan was super weird and just bizarre. It's just like a whole nother planet. Um, and so all of those trips were really good. Yeah. So
Cool.
Well, we have a question we ask every artist. Who are your top 5 favorite tattooers?
oh, um, 5. Well,
Yeah.
Tim Biedron for sure. Um, Also, just he's like my top tattooer as like an artist and a draftsman and a tattooer and a person. Just like he's just like, I just love that guy to death. Um,
Yeah.
Grime. I mean, influentially, Grime's always been like the biggest influence for sure. Um, Really have through the years grown really, really attracted to Chris O'Donnell, as like I really
Yeah.
liked his stuff back in the 90s and in the early 2000s. Um, but he's much
Yeah.
more impressive to me now than ever. Regino Gonzalez, definitely at the very top. And I got one more.
One more. We don't make it easy.
No, that's a tough one. I only got one more.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I'd say Rob Koss. He's always been um, wildly inspiring.
Who's that? Can you say that again?
Rob Koss. Do you know Rob? Do you guys know
Rob
Rob
Koss.
Koss?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
I've got
Yeah.
a Rob Koss sketchbook that I have to put away because it's too humbling on my ability.
Yeah, and I mean, I
I
think
can trace it. That's about as close as I can get.
for Rob and for Grime, I think thing that I've always the thing that has always been the most impressive to me is the range of what they do. It's just like it's not they're not like one trick ponies by any means. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if somebody were to
Yeah.
ask me what that style is, I don't even know what I would say. Like I don't. I've no
No, they're
words to
defined
explain
styles for sure.
what avenue they sit in, because it's just so they're just so all over the place, but really cohesive. You know what I mean? Um, like you never see a tattoo from Rob, even now, that you don't know he did it. You know, um, And that's, man, that's a really unique, hard thing to find, you know, like someone that's just kind of out there carving their own path.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're probably the first tattooer I've known to bring up Rob Koss's name in the last 15 years. I can only think of a couple other artists I know who regularly comment on his work. It's fascinating that he's flown under the radar for so long.
Yeah, I don't know if it's by choice or if, you know, like I feel like he has he's the wrong kind of tattooer to be viewed online. Like it doesn't, especially on a freaking phone. Like his tattoos are so complicated.
Yeah.
Like they're so beautiful and they're so ornate.
Yeah.
Like they're done so well and they look so, like they're just so good. Like they sit on the skin so well. But you need to see that in person. Like you can't, like Instagram is not going to do justice at all. I think so people, I think they come across like a beautiful Rob Koss back piece and they're just like, well, whatever, and just keep, you know, swiping because it's too complicated for their brain to even understand, you know, what they're listening to.
Yeah.
What they're looking at. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, or it's just not tattooy enough or something. Yeah, I get what you mean for sure. I remember seeing his work early on, and I was just like, even just in the magazines on a 2D picture, I was just like, what the fuck is this I got to contend with now? Like,
totally different.
Yeah.
Yep.
All that stuff in the early days, it was coming out of Chicago, and then, of course, out of San Francisco was just like, oh, Jesus Christ.
So cool. Like, so cool.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so cool. Yeah.
And yeah.
Tim Breedron, that's who we got to try and...
We got to get Tim on here.
Yeah.
He's actually made a few top fives on this, actually.
Yeah, totally.
Which is kind of nice because it was one of those names where I forget who it was the first person to put him in the top 5. I was like, oh my God, how did I forget about that fucking guy?
Yeah.
Right. And now it's been like multiple people have brought, and not older tattooers, like some younger tattooers have brought up that name. And I'm like, God damn.
Yeah.
There's so many good fucking tattooers out there that
no one can draw like him. No one. Like he's on a totally different level, you know. Yeah, I don't think there's anybody in his category, you know. So you should get him on. He'll do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be awesome. You can put in a good word for us.
Yeah,
I will.
I'll reach out. I'll drop your name.
We'll tag him in this post.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You should.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh
my God. This was awesome. Thank you so much, Phil.
Yeah.
Yeah, we really appreciate it.
Yeah, I hope
just shooting the shit and learning a bit about you has been great.
Before you hang up, Phil, I'm just going to ask you to leave your computer on so it uploads a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no worries.
It was great getting to know Curly and this amazing guy that tattooed with one arm. You know, the customer had to stretch his own skin.
So I did get blood poisoning from him twice.
Yeah.
Twice?
Ed Hardy brought this whole Japanese influence into American tattooing.
Once Dave Shore come onto the scene, it was like tattooing completely changed.
If anybody could say anything about greaseball Japanese, it's fucking Dave Shore.
Salty, piratey, bikery, just hard not to do.
Man, he'd pull in on his chopper with the tattoos and the girls, and I mean, he was just like so cool, man.
He captured vulgarity and pleasure and insanity and recklessness.
Tattooer in the 80s or 70s. Just not the same, yeah. You had to be a tough guy.
I was scared shitless. Even though I was kind of a biker guy, these were bigger biker guys, you know?
I'm not totally sure you could paint the picture accurately to somebody now getting into tattooing about what it was like then And the only reason I would say, or I feel that way, though, is because they might not believe you.
We had the limo waiting for him with all the lines of blow lined at the airport. This is the way we do it in Canada.
In the 80s, 90s, Paul Jeffries was like the king of tattooing. It wasn't just in Canada.
Like, am I supposed to stop tattooing? Because if this is what I'm supposed to aspire to, it's not gonna happen.
Each one of these old masters influenced groups of tattooers, who in turn influenced other groups of tattooers.